please.
Good morning to all the participants. We have our speaker today, so we will be officially starting this session. So with the kind consent of our convener, we are starting today's FDP session, which is phase 2, sponsored by AICTE, organized by the Department of Biotechnology, Oxford College of Engineering. Our resource person for today is Ms. Ankita Puranik. She is Innovation and Ecosystem Development Officer. She has a total experience of 4 years in life science startup incubation systems. She has done her Masters of Technology in Biotech domain from MS Ramaya Institute of Technology and Bachelor's of Engineering in Biotech domain from Basaveshwara Engineering College. She started her career in Bangalore Bioinnovation Center's technical team as a technical officer, wherein she was responsible for handling, operating and maintaining a huge central instrumentation facility consisting of number of high-end equipments. She has also worked at ICAR NIVI's Agribusiness Incubation Center under RKVY Raftar as assistant manager, wherein she was responsible for developing and executing strategy for outreach, hunting, attracting and onboard deserving and qualified innovative entrepreneurs and startups, designing and managing incubation and acceleration programs. Presently, she is working as Innovation and Ecosystem Development Officer at Bangalore Bioinnovation Center and is responsible for developing and executing the innovative engagement strategy for the entire startup community, including academics, startups, investors, corporates, mentors, advisors, and domain experts. And she's also taking care of all the outreach activities, which includes event organization. On behalf of the Department of Biotechnology, we welcome Ankita Puranik for the session. Over to you, ma'am. You can start with the session.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Salma, for the kind introduction. Very glad to be a part of this program, and I thank Dr. Manjunath and Dr. Salma for giving me this wonderful opportunity to connect with so many faculty of different colleges, especially biotech faculty. Yes, without taking much time on these introductory part, I'd go ahead with the session. So I'll be speaking today mainly about startup ecosystem about in Karnataka and funding opportunities. So when you think of a startup, be it from a faculty background, student entrepreneurship, a student entrepreneur, or any other industrial person who comes up with a startup, they mainly think of where they are, which city they are, how the ecosystem is, what are the different incubation centers present in the city, because especially when it comes to biotechnology you require a lot of support in terms of one is funding, second one is infrastructure. So with this I'll just begin my talk by giving this Karnataka an emerging bioinnovation hub. In Karnataka, we have 8,000 plus number of startups, specifically in Bangalore, and the average valuation of these startups in the state is $3.3 million. And it's the first state to announce multi-sector startup policy and second fastest growing startup ecosystem. And Bangalore is ranked world's top 11th city for startups. So Bengaluru is very active in terms of startup, be it IT, be it biotech, and there are a lot of supports given by Department of Biotechnology and Department of Electronics, IT, BT, and SNT, Government of Karnataka. So with that, we have a lot of funding opportunity and infrastructure opportunities. So by utilizing this, there are so many prominent players have come up and they are growing. Few to mention are Anthem Biosciences, there is Bugworks, the String Bio, Janacare, Biocon, Novozymes, the Panduram, C6 Energy, Indra, Syngene, etc. These are just few to mention, but there are so many prominent players who have done many records in terms of biotechnology startup in worldwide. Yeah. Just to mention some important milestones when it comes to Karnataka startup ecosystem, Government of Karnataka initiated this Helix Biotech Park where Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is present. I'll come to that Helix Biotech Park. This was done in 2013. New Age Incubation Network, NAIN, that program was started in 2014. Bangalore Bioinnovation Center was inaugurated in February 2015. Karnataka's multi-sector startup policy was launched in November 2015. Startup India was formed in 2016. Center for Excellences were formed in 2019, and after that there's encouragement even for COVID-19 pandemic. So for early stage funding, implementation partnership with Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, this has been supported through a program called as Elevate 100, wherein you will get funding up to 50 lakhs. And there are hundreds of startups across different sectors through Elevate program who have been funded and utilizing and coming up with the many innovations. Convergence with agriculture, tourism, science and technology departments, etc. There are special funds and there are sector specific startups. And there is a virtual incubation permitted in this specific Elevate 100 scheme. There are multiple opportunities for startups in Karnataka. For example, there is Idea to POC, which was earlier, which is now called as Elevate 100. So it was launched in 2015 and grant in aid of rupees 50 lakhs. And it is utilized for the purpose of validating your proof of concept. That means from idea stage to proof of concept. As the name says, POC, it's from idea to proof of concept. And this scheme is now called as Elevate 100, and the government of Karnataka select top 100 technology based startups, and there is rupees 400 crores of government funds utilized for this, and it is one of the largest pool of funds ever offered by any state government to startups. And there is seed fund. In fact, Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is an implementation partner for all these three, like Idea to POC, Elevate 100 and seed fund. We have our own seed fund funded by DBT, Department of Biotechnology, and Government of Karnataka. So it gives a capital assistance to startups with new ideas, and it it creates a bridge between promoters, investors and venture or angel investments. There is something called BioVenture Fund also, which is specifically for early stage and SMEs. The maximum funding is 3.5 crores and the minimum is 1 crore. So I'll not deal much here in the promotion and networking. There are a lot of events organized by Government of Karnataka, like Tech Summit, Bangalore Tech Summit, that happens every year in the month of November. And last year it was online. And there happens a Bioeconomic Conclave in partnership with ABLE, and Bangalore India Nano happens in Bangalore. Startup and industry interaction meetup and expo. Global Bio happens here in Bangalore. Horticulture fair, Krishi Mela. So these are the events where you can build your networks and you can create your branding. So that's how you can get your helps there. And sponsorship for exposure visits. There is BioKorea, BioUS that happens once in a year. BioKorea obviously happens in Korea and BioUS in United States. Government of Karnataka sponsors the startups or representatives of Karnataka ecosystem to physically go to the event and represent the state and expand their networks. So Government of Karnataka takes care of all the expenses like travel, accommodation, participation, etc. Yeah, coming to Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, I'll just briefly tell you what we are, what do we do, and how can we help the faculty and students of your particular college. Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is an innovation and translational research unit by Government of Karnataka. It's a Section 8 company jointly initiated by Department of Electronics, IT, BT and Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka, and Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. It's a 60 square feet built up area. We have 2 floors with huge laboratories, and it's located in Helix Biotech Park, Electronic City Phase 1. So the Helix Biotech Park, the concept is to create that synergy among the academic institutions, startup institution, and the future support areas like industrial expansion areas. Helix Biotech Park currently consists of three main organizations, that is IBAB, CHE and BBC. BBC is Bangalore Bioinnovation Center. IBAB is Institute of Bioinformatics and Applied Biotechnology. CHE is Center for Human Genetics. So there are a lot of student entrepreneurs who are interested among these academic institutes, which can take the help from Bangalore Bioinnovation Center to build their proof of concept. So the synergy is like the academics, the startups, and the industrial support. For the industrial area and future support, there is a lab zone biotech park which is being constructed. In fact, it recently started the construction. In the Bhumi Puja was done by Shri B.S. Yediyurappa, I think 2 months back, and it's already under process. So Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, mainly the functions of Bangalore Bioinnovation Center are providing the infrastructure for entrepreneurs, branding and networking creation. There's a mentorship that we provide. We have a mentors pool, and the specific mentors we can assign to each startup, and you can take the advices from them for your next step. And there's a funding. Funding, as I already mentioned, there is the Elevate 100. 50 lakhs of funding. We are an associate big partner by Technology Ignition Grant, which gives you 50 lakhs for idea to proof of concept. And then there is the seed funds, which gives you 30 lakhs of funding. And we mainly support to 5 key areas, that is healthcare, medtech and pharma, biopharma, all are considered here. Food and nutrition, agriculture, biotechnology. Yeah, when it comes to agriculture biotechnology, we have received the funds from RKVY, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, and we are coming up with something called Farm Innovation Center within the same campus, and we are in talks with that. We are initiating the process soon. We'll be having our own Farm Innovation Center, which is focused mainly on agri biotechnology. There's environmental biotechnology and industrial biotechnology. So before I go to next information, I would like to tell you that what is a startup, what is the definition, and what are the things mainly a startup requires specifically in biotechnology sector. A startup defined by DPIIT, Government Department of Biotechnology, Department of Promotion, Government of India, says that a company has to be registered as private limited, LLP or proprietorship, and it should be less than 10 years old. That means once you register, the initial 10 years is considered as the startup. So once you are done with the 10 years, it is no more a startup. And the revenue should not be more than 100 crores. So these are the terms set up by Government of India about the startup. So all such startups are welcome here. Even we help and support the student entrepreneurs. So the faculties who are present in this platform, I request them, those students who are interested in entrepreneurship, kindly connect them to us. They can pursue their projects, assignments, and they can, if they are very much interested in coming up with a company, a startup company, we are very much ready to help them. Kindly consider Bangalore Bioinnovation Center for such purposes. And the infrastructure, I'll be dealing with infrastructure more here. We have incubation suites, that means we have large incubation labs, smaller ones, and bench spaces. Once a company or an individual entrepreneur comes to Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, when they onboard here, we provide them the space accordingly. That means a company who is having 4 to 5 members in their team, they can go ahead for a smaller suites. Those who have more than that can go ahead with the larger incubation suites, and those companies who are at a very beginning stage, who are still writing their funds or grants or still doing their preliminary studies, who don't require much laboratory facilities, etc., can go ahead with the bench spaces. A bench space consists of 2 seating areas here and are open to access our central instrumentation facility. So one part is incubation suites that I explained now. The second part is the other facilities like meeting room, conference room, training room, etc. And the third one is most important and key prominent laboratories that we have is a central equipment facility wherein all the equipment relevant to life sciences are present, and it's a national facility funded by Department of Biotechnology, Government of Karnataka, Government of India, and I request all of you to avail this facility. It's open for everyone, be it academic, be it industry, be it a startup, be it our incubity or external incubity, anybody. So it's open for all those who are present here. I want to mention that this facility can be availed by all of you for your projects, mini projects, or your any studies that particularly you want to do. It is open for that. You can reach to us, we'll help you to go ahead and utilize the facility. Yes, this is the central instrumentation facility wherein a cell culture facility. I'm showing you a few clips, and there is tissue culture, and the cell culture facility consists of bacterial cell culture and mammalian cell culture. It's basically a clean environment to avoid the contamination, and each facility comes up individually with the carbon dioxide incubators, which is routinely sterilized, routinely checked, maintained properly by Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, and you can utilize that facility. So each laboratory comes with a laminar hood, a CO2 incubator, an inverted trinocular fluorescent microscope, and as usual there is a regular incubator, there is a stirrer, and many other facilities as you can see in the pictures. So it also comes with a separate -80 storage, -20 storage, and we also have liquid nitrogen storage. We have our own liquid nitrogen plant. This will be helpful to store your cells. So mammalian cells, when you are working with, you can store the cells in liquid nitrogen and you can utilize in this particular facility. Molecular biology, we have, I'm just showing you clips here, but we have many in number. For example, when it comes to RT-PCR, I'm showing you that there is a one Bio-Rad RT-PCR, one Agilent RT-PCR, but we have many in number because we currently have 60 plus physically incubated companies here. So that means they, as I already showed you previous slide, that they take the incubation facility at their own laboratory, and as and then required they book this particular instrument, they come there, utilize the facility. So it's very essential for us to have each instrument in multiple numbers. So we have PCRs, many number. Bio-Rad PCR we have real-time PCR from Agilent and Bio-Rad. We have gene pulsar, we have gel imaging units, like 4 to 5 units are there, and then there is liquid handling system. This is a Beckman Coulter liquid handling system, BioMech, wherein for the preparation of RT-PCR mix, you don't have to do it individually with your, specifically hands-on, you don't have to do that. This instrumentation, this machine is programmed in a way that you just have to keep your tip box, your particular solutions, mixture, etc. And you can just program it, and the liquid handling machine will process the entire program as you give the input. It will process it accordingly and it will give you the RT-PCR mixture. So all such high-end equipments we have in molecular biology. There's a proteomics and small scale analysis laboratory where we have HPLCs. There is a HPLC manual as well as auto injector, and we have LC-MS. The MS is from Shimadzu, and we also have Waters HPLC, and we are coming up with Waters MS and MS very soon. We have this ACTA FPLC for those who want to go ahead for the next level studies. There is a prep, right? That the facility is also there with us. There's a Nano DSC and ITC. NGC Bio-Rad chromatography is also there for high-end studies. Electrophoresis systems and gel documentation units. This UV visible NIR spectrophotometer, which can read your sample up to 2500 nanometers. We have molecular biology facility where there is a autoclave, multiple autoclaves. Of course, it will be handled by BBC, but we have set a particular timing for each cycle. Accordingly, all the incubatees provide their samples to us, and BBC runs the autoclave cycle safely and it handovers the samples back to the incubatees. There are microscope. there is a bug box. Bug box is an anaerobic chamber wherein one who requires the studies to be done in the absence of oxygen or air. This particular instrument can be utilized for that purpose. There is a composition of different gases like nitrogen, oxygen, etc., and then creates the vacuum, and the entire chamber will be made in a condition that anaerobic condition will be created, and you can just insert your hands inside and utilize the do all your experiments, microbial experiments, and you can utilize it as incubator also. We have this freeze dryers also, which will, the picture that I'm showing you at the right side corner is a freeze dryer that is of pilot scale, where there are 80 liters of facility is there. You can keep your samples inside, and you can give the recipe. It is called as a recipe, a protocol, and you can create your own protocol according to your reagents that you want it to be dried, freeze dried, and accordingly each step will be taken automatically by the instrument, and your sample will be given with you in a dried form. Apart from this, we also have one more lyophilizer or freeze dryer, which is manual one. That means you can't create your protocol there. It goes up to minus 104 degrees temperature, and it will give the constant vacuum will be created, and it will give the dried form in that sense. So you can choose whatever the lyophilizer you want to here. We have flow cytometry Beckman Coulter FC500, and we have this cell sorter fax machine from Biorad. It is used to detect and measure the physical and chemical properties of the population of cells or particles, and it's also used to sort a heterogeneous mixture of biological cells into two or more containers or one cell at a time based on the specific light scattering and fluorescent characteristics of each cell. This is about the facts I was talking about. Histology lab. Histology lab consists of vibrotomes, microtomes. There is a cell embedding system and wax embedding system, and then there is a cell staining. That means you can stain your tissue samples there. So basically, when you want to make studies like cross-sectional cuttings of the cells, of the tissues you want to make and analyze them in the microscopes, fluorescent, confocal, or according to your requirement, then you can go ahead with the microtome, wherein there will be a sharp blade at one end, and at very thin slices you can cross-section your sample, and then you can embed that system in the wax embedding machine. We have it here, and then there is a staining instrument wherein you can provide the sample a particular stain that you are willing to according to your protocol, and you can go ahead with your microscopic studies. So this is the main idea of histology laboratory, and you can vibrotome is also there with us, which can be utilized specifically for brain tissues. You can cross section and again follow the same steps, and yes, this is also open for all the external users. Fermentation facility, all the microbial fermentation is possible here. We have a mammalian fermenter also, and we have starting from 1 liter to 15 liters. It means we have 1 liter, we have 3 liter bioreactor or fermenter, we have 5 liters, 10 liters, and 15 liters. Sartorius and Apricon is the make of this fermenter, and we are also coming up with 100 liters of fermentation facility very soon. So basically these are from the Sartorius and Apricon, and you can again real time you can analyze the data, and you can control the different parameters like pH, temperature, etc. And yeah, I'm showing you a few pictures here in the slide. So to back up all these facilities, we have the DG and UPS facility, and we in-house KLD, ETP, STP plants we have, and I already mentioned we have liquid nitrogen generation plant which produces 80 liters per day. So this was all about a central instrumentation facility, and apart from this, what else do we have is Environment, Health and Safety Division. So this EHS, there is a EHS officer with us present at all the working days, working time, who maintains all the safety clearance of this unit. And we also have EHS committee. That means for the incubators who are stuck with the different environmental policies of Government of Karnataka or Government of India, like biodiversity law or safety safety laws, like many RCGM or any other requirements that the incubator has, our EHS department is there to resolve that and to guide them, like what are the different measures and steps one has to take for their research. We have intellectual property cell, and this being headed by Dr. Mary. There is a intellectual property officer with us, and we help all our startups or any other requirement from external user also in terms of prior art, patentability, freedom to operate, patent landscaping, patent validity, infringement analysis, etc. And we also facilitate the IP filing and prosecution. That means we help them with the entire process, invention disclosure form, etc. And we have agriculture, food and nutrition division separately. I already mentioned you about the Farm Innovation Center that we are coming up with. So this was all about the infrastructure and different requirements by incubators like EHS and all that we discussed already. Apart from this, we have another motto is to create an innovation ecosystem in terms of global, national and regional. So I'm showing you a few clips here wherein we are how we greatly are associated with Victorian Australian government, with Japanese government, Chinese and different countries, like there is a Taiwan, there's a Singapore. So we are associated with all these ecosystems to expand our networks and to support the startups in terms of soft landing options, be it from there to here or vice versa. So in terms of global linkages, we support all our incubators. In these pictures, I'm showing you Victorian Premier. Mr. Daniel Andrews had visited us, and also Ms. Kate Johns, who is the Minister of Innovations in Victoria. She had also visited us, and we have a strong bonding of organizing different events. Like there recently happened a MedTech Got Talent, wherein there were different screening processes for the MedTech startups, and finally the gala event had happened in the Australia, wherein all the selected startups had represented Indian medtech culture in the Australia. So that's how we are greatly associated with Victoria. Japanese delegation, we have JETRO, we have MOU signed with them in presence of Shri B.S. Yediyurappa and Shri Ashwath Narayan, Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, and we are also associated with Beyond Next Venture for different funding, investment opportunities for the startups. There's a Chinese delegation that we had hosted, and there's a BioUS, BioKorea I already spoke about, wherein we represent. We've taken our incubators to those events to represent Karnataka startup. So yeah, as I already mentioned, this is a global linkage of JETRO with the BBC, wherein we signed a memorandum of understanding in presence of Deputy Chief Minister and Chief Minister of Karnataka. So when it comes to national linkage, mainly we focus on creating different events that helps to expand the networks in terms of national. Like we recently organized this artificial intelligence and machine learning in healthcare workshop, and then IP in medtech terms, IP in workshop on leveraging IP. Or then we also host these delegations like National Defense Council, and we had attended the roundtable meeting organized by Indian Council for Food and Agriculture and NASSCOM 10,000 startups. We also launched the products developed by our incubators in the national platforms. For example, when it was a when the COVID hit India, and we immediately started this particular program, Battle for COVID-19, and we announced the proposal to submit the proposal for all the innovators who have different innovations and product building capability in terms of COVID-19. So we received, surprisingly, we received 140 plus proposals, and we had to segregate them. We had to cut down it to some 30 to 40 proposals, and we incubated them here for free. And then, as it was a need of ours, we supported in all the ways that they required, and to develop their product. So that's how we were successfully able to produce 24 products to mitigate the COVID-19, and we launched them in the national platform. That means there was a minister from government of Karnataka, and there was a participation by PSA, government of India. That is, there was this Dr. Anita Gupta from NSTDB, and there was Vijay Raghavan sir. And that's how we created that national platform wherein a startup can be focused worldwide, like in terms of media and in terms of all the reachable outreach activities. And the startups have really got the great requirement from all these media people specifically. That's how they got the orders, and they expanded in terms of commercialization. So when it comes to regional linkages, we give the equal importance here to connect to all the institutions that are present here in Bangalore, in Karnataka, as well as in whole country. So specifically, when it comes to regional linkages, we have signed many MOUs like ICAR, IHR, University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore. In fact, we are greatly associated with them to conduct webinars and course activities, etc. IIM Bangalore NSR Cell, it's an NSR Cell incubator. We are greatly connected with them again. And there's a NITE University, Government Ayurveda College, RV College, BMS College, Sri Sri College of Ayurveda, and many more. So we are connected with all of these academic institutions in terms of regional linkages. So we organize workshops with them very oftenly. We invite the principals or head of the departments of each college for our talk, and vice versa. It greatly it's really helpful for the exchange of the knowledge, and also expansion of all the startups that are present in Karnataka. And industrial visits, this is one more key function that we do. That means we cater to all these industrial visits from different colleges like PAS, RV, GKVK, VIT. In fact, Oxford College of Engineering was also with us. The students visits Bangalore Innovation Center. We tell them what is a startup hub, how the ecosystem is, how you can utilize this facility, and how is it helpful for a student. And we show them the facility, we give them the talks, etc. So you can see a few pictures here, and all those faculty who are present on this particular platform, I request you all to be in touch with us for such programs. And probably once the COVID is done, we can organize such events, visit industrial visits. You can come to us, we can showcase the facility, we can give them the hands-on trainings, etc. And we can also go ahead for the MOU signing. We are open for that. So I already spoke about battle against COVID-19, and this was the first product launch. You can see here Dr. Ashwath Narayan, who had visited us, and we launched this automated RNA isolation and isothermal amplification kit for COVID-19 developed by our incubity. And this was the second product launch that this happened at Vidhan Sauda at SIR's working place. And we had launched this Shield X24 fluorescent probes and PCR mix, KRN Daksh, which is a fetal monitoring device, and viral transport media, that is Deconto VTM. Coastra is an artificial intelligence based device for the detection of COVID-19. And we also launched a few products, day-to-day usage products like antimicrobial face wash, shampoos, etc. So it's the third COVID-19 product launch, wherein we had launched it online since it was the COVID was still there, so we launched it online. There's a Padma Vitals Plus. It's a centralized monitoring system, multi-scordity, CD4 Shield, Beam Roti, Immune Booster, Daily Drops, Veggie Pul, Water Sanitizer, Kitchen Taps, and Antimicrobial HVAC system. So all these products were launched during the third one. This is a fourth COVID-19 product launch, where NucleoDX RT-PCR mix that was launched, COVID-DX MPlex 3R and 4R systems were launched, Dr. Tapman for the measurement of temperature and oxygen level that was launched, Cephi biosecurity solution, wherein it's a tunnel sanitization tunnel for all the people entering or exiting the particular institution or any airport, railway station, etc. So such biosecurity solutions were also launched. There was a UV beamer, UV conveyor, and artificial intelligence based Chain mobile app. So these products were launched in the fourth COVID-19. Yes, when it comes to funding, I explained you the three things that we do. We are the implementation partner for Elevate 100, and second thing is we are the associate partner for Biotechnology Ignition Grant by Department of Biotechnology, Government of Karnataka, Government of India, and we also have our own seed funds supported by KTech and Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. So BBC as an implementation partner for funding schemes, Idea to POC or Elevate, we have funded all these 38 startups that are visible on the slide. We have supported them by providing them the 50 lakhs of funding, the infrastructure, the mentorship, the networking facility, launching the products, etc. So BBC was thus the implementation partner for these schemes. So few achievements to highlight are we have already achieved 100% occupancy in the infrastructure. That means we have supported 68 incubations so far, where there are 20 now. The 20 plus graduates are there. Graduates are those who have completed their term here. They have successfully done their term and they exit from BBC for their next venture. Like they'll have their own space, they'll have their own team, own space, they'll come up with different clients, commercialization happens and they stand on their own. So such phase is called as graduation. We already have 20 plus graduates. Many are successful, like I can say 80% of the graduates are successful. We have established the MedTech incubator funded by BIRAC. It's under BioNest scheme, wherein we have electronic prototyping lab, we have different software used for the MedTech projects. So as I already explained, there's a seed fund, 1 crore received from BIRAC and now 1 crore received from KTech for this particular seed funds. We have the KSAP 50 mentorship program, that means Karnataka Startup Advancement Program. It's of rupees 3 lakhs. Yeah, I already mentioned you about the product launch or technology launch. Yeah, I was speaking about MedTech Got Talent. Here are a few pics where the MedTech actuator was here with us. We had collaborated with them. They're from Victoria, Australia. Yes, we have our own Janati newsletter, which specifically highlights the development from scientific, legal, and economic perspectives from the world of healthcare, medtech, biopharma, agriculture, industrial, and environmental biotechnology. So we come up with this particular newsletter quarterly, and we release them. We are proud to say that we have generated 400 number of employment. I mean, in terms of biotechnology, 400 number, it makes a big difference actually. So we are very proud to say that we have created so much of employment, and I already mentioned about our support towards Idea to POC or Elevate 100. So this was all about biotechnology, Bangalore Bioinnovation Center, and you can reach us for any kind of your requirements. If you require any mentorship support, if you require infrastructure support, mainly whenever I speak to all such academic institutions, they are keen on being with us for organizing workshops is one thing. Second thing is utilizing the instrumentation facility for their own projects. So for all these things, we are open. Please reach us for at any time of requirement, and we'll help you with that. So with that, I'll go ahead with the next important topic, that's the Biotechnology Ignition Grant. It's a grant, it's a flagship program from BIRAC. BIRAC is a part of Government Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, and they have initiated the scheme called Biotechnology Ignition Grant, specifically from idea stage to proof of concept. So for that, they have finalized different big partners, that is Sign IIT Bombay, there's a Venture Center Pune, SIIC IIT Kanpur, AIDIA Hyderabad, FIIT IIT Delhi, KIIT Bhubaneswar, IKP, that's ICICI Knowledge Park Hyderabad, and CCamp Bangalore. So these are the different big partners that they have decided according to the regional requirement of the country, and all these big partners take care of writing the application, guiding the applicant on what are the different steps that they have to take, what are the different elements that one has to consider, because the application form for biotechnology ignition grant is not an easy one. It takes you at least 15 days to go ahead, fill the form and submit them. So that's how they created this big partners. And they recently last year they initiated this program called Associate Big Partner Program. So in that, Bangalore Bioinnovation Center has been selected, and we also take care of creating the awareness among students, among faculty, among different industries, startups, and everywhere. We create the awareness about how biotechnology ignition grant can help you to build your entrepreneurship. So we create the awareness, we support them on drafting the application, and we guide them throughout the process. So BIRAC's schemes are from, as I already mentioned, Bangalore, this biotechnology ignition grant is from idea stage to proof of concept, and there are different other funds that I'll just give you the names. Early stage development fund is SIBRI, and it's a pre-POC, that means before the proof of concept, and it requires to have a public-private partnership. And there is a late stage development funds, that is post POC. That means once you create the POC, you have to go for the validation, product evaluation and validation. For that, there is a BIPP. And there are alternate funding programs specifically for academics, that is a Sitare EUI is there, that's for the students, idea to proof of concept. And there is a PACE, that means POC in terms of academic innovations. And then there is a proof of prototype validation by industrial partner, there's a CRS. So these are just a few schemes that I wanted to mention. So coming back to biotechnology ignition grant, what is it? So it's a flagship scheme of BIRAC, and it supports the ideas with potential to translate into commercial products or technologies. So the basic idea is, when somebody comes up with an idea, they have to reach the prototype or proof of concept stage, and biotechnology ignition grant help you for that, specifically when it is biotechnology application. So they're restricted to biotechnology startups, and they provide you 50 lakhs of grant in the duration of 18 months. And it supports individual entrepreneurs also. They don't have a mandate that only the registered companies have to approach them. So they also support the individual entrepreneurs or startups from ideation to proof of concept. And the grant in aid support is of 50 lakh rupees, and the duration of support is 18 months. So what are the different categories that they support to? They support to industrial biotechnology, agriculture, bioinformatics and facilities, drugs including drug delivery and vaccines, biosimilars and stem cells, devices and diagnostics. So when it comes to industrial biotechnology, there's a waste management, sanitization and clean energy. So all these subsectors can be clubbed in this particular industrial biotechnology sector. And in agriculture, there are different categories like secondary agriculture, biopesticides, biofertilizers, food processing, animal husbandry, fisheries, sericulture, aquaponics, poultry. All these projects, relevant projects, will fall under agriculture. And in devices and diagnostics, there is engineering, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, sensors, big data analytics, cloud computing, machine learning, automation, robotics, and any other relevant disciplines. So you have to be very clear about what category and what subcategory you fall into, your project will fall into, and you can initiate your process from there. So let me talk about what is supported and what is not supported. So when it comes to biotechnology ignition grant, it basically supports a project that is required to be established, that is required to be validated in terms of proof of concept, and it doesn't support basic and exploratory research projects that may include maybe the marketing studies or the sampling studies or the repetition of the studies that's already been done. That means if you want to have a comparative analysis of different DNA extraction or some other repetition of instruments or the study already that's been published, such studies are known as exploratory research projects, and we don't support you there. It should have a strong IPR potential. I already explained that novelty is an extremely important point to be considered here, and strong IPR potential is required. That means when you come up with a product, it should be the single one. It means that particular idea should not be present anywhere in any documentation, be it media also. So we don't entertain that. It should be very new, it should be novel, and should have the biotech element in it. And those projects who are having a very low element of novelty and no commercial potential, we don't encourage them. So you should be very careful about the novelty. You should go ahead with your prior art search. We also help you with that. And if it is novel enough to be considered in biotechnology ignition grant, you can go ahead for the application. And scientific data to demonstrate idea to licensors or investors. So ultimately at the end of the biotechnology ignition grant supported duration, that means 18 months. At the end of the 18 months, you have to be very clearly have an idea about what is the scientific data, how can you demonstrate your idea to licensors or investors. That means you should we just make sure that you have commercial potential, commercialization potential. The idea should be of commercialization potential here, and it should generate the scientific data accordingly to prove that. Yeah, projects involving systematic clinical trials, field trials, or late stage validation certification of the technology is not encouraged here. That means I clearly told that it is from idea to proof of concept, and the clinical trials, field trials, validation experiment, validation step, all those are not entertained. Translation of the ideas into commercially viable products or technologies to address the unmet need. So ultimately you have to address the unmet need of the society. It's not like you will come up with an idea and your idea is of course commercializable, but it has to address one of the unmet need of the society. That's the main purpose of government of India. That's why it has come up with big. And yeah, you should make sure that once it is commercialized, it should address, it should solve any of the unmet required need from the society. PhD thesis and matured ventures are not supported here. Eligibility to apply. So there are different eligibility criteria for individuals and the companies. So individuals, the individual has to be an Indian citizen. The applicant should be a project leader who has already finished the basic graduation in any discipline. And you have to submit the no objection certificate if you are employed or student. And you have to have a incubator identification. That means you should be very much clear about, in case if you are selected, where you are going to perform your experiments, where is the facility available, how clear are you with these particular steps. That means not every academic institution has all the requirements required by a startup in biotechnology field. So you should be very much clear about what incubator you are going to be associated with for your further studies to develop your proof of concept. So that identification is very much important to be eligible. And for that, Bangalore Bioinnovation Center is very happy to provide you the letter of intent. That means if you are a winner of BIG, you can be incubated here. So that letter of intent can be provided by us. And you should not be a big grantee. So once you are a big grantee for the same project, for the same proposal, you are not eligible. So these are clearly screened with the committee. And the company eligibilities I will be listing here. It has to be registered under Indian Companies Act, and at least 51% of the capital has to be owned by a resident Indian citizen. That means you can be having your shareholders who are not Indian citizen, but you have to make sure that the Indian citizen, the project leader who is applying here, has to hold at least 51% of the capital of the company. And the company should not be older than 5 years. I already mentioned you the definition of startup that says the initial 10 years is the startup phase, but biotechnology ignition grant supports only 5 years. The initial 5 years only is supported by BIG. So if you are more than that, you are not eligible to apply. Should not be a proprietary firm. I already said that a company has to be registered as a private limited or LLP or proprietary when you have to be a startup. But when it comes to the eligibility for BIG, the proprietary firms are not eligible here. It has to be the private limited or LLP, or as an individual you can go ahead and apply. So the promoters of the company has to hold less than 20% in any other non-biotech company. Sorry, any other biotech company. It means 20% of the shares you can hold with any other non-biotech company, but definitely not with any other biotech firm. So this is also a very critical point. And the project leader who is submitting the proposal is a shareholder in the applicant company and is alone responsible for all the technical and managerial aspects, and the present project for all these managerial and technical things, he's alone responsible, the project leader, and he is the one who will be signing agreement with BIRAC. So let me quickly run you through what's the process flow of BIG. Once the BIG national call is done, it will give you 1.5 months of duration usually. But now the 18th call for BIG has been done and it is still going on because of COVID reasons. Last year, 17th call was not finished at the given duration. So the January 1st call was made for BIG 18th call, and still it is running, and 25th March is the last date for application. And yes, if you are willing to go ahead within that, you have to start immediately, or you can keep the documents and everything ready, and you can as soon as the 19th call is made, you can submit it during the 19th call. So once the call is made, generally 1.5 months of duration is given for the applicant to fill up the application and submit it. Firstly, the committee checks whether the applicant meets the eligibility criteria, if it is an individual or a company, and what are the different eligibility criteria. It will go through individual criteria and it will check if it meets them. So if it meets, it will go to preliminary screening committee, and that will take 30 days of time. So that means they will check whether the idea is novel enough and the idea is commercialization capability, whether it has a commercialization capability. So these two are the main things that it will verify, and it will take at least 30 days of time, and it will go ahead for the online review. Online review, it will have at least 3 to 5 experts who will go through each and every single sentence you have mentioned in your application again and again. That means there will be at least 3 to 4 rounds of checks here by 3 to 5 people who are experts in handling these proposals. And yes, it will take up to 60 days of time. After this is done, there is a thematic TEP face-to-face reviews wherein they will hold your they will check your score. It will be evaluated. There is a specific committee formed for this by BIRAC, and you will be talking face-to-face with them. You will be pitching, you will be presenting what is your idea, how novel is it, how commercialization ability does it have, and how it is going to resolve the unmet need of Indian society. So that is considered as a score of 100 marks, and if you score above 60, you will be going to the final cutoff decision. And this thematic face-to-face will take up to 105 days, because there are thousands of applications floating in for BIRAC for this particular scheme, and they have to go to individual interview face-to-face. And these days it's happening online from last call, and I'm not sure in 19th call what they will come up with. So ECS final cutoff decision, yes, they will, this committee, expert selection committee, it is called as expert selection committee, and they will set a cutoff of certain score. So those companies who have scored above the cutoff will go for the due diligence by partner. Those who are not qualifying, they will be eliminated here at this final round. And once you're through this round, there will be due diligence by the partner who will be verifying your documents in, I mean, the original documents are verified by the partners, big partners, and they'll go ahead for the release of funds. So this is where the agreement signing part will come, and within 2 months of duration, the release of first tranche will happen, and that's the end of the call. Like after the 18 months of duration, they will they will take the milestones, and you'll have to submit the utilization certificate, progress report, your bank statements, etc. So that's the process. So just to brief about what are the documents you have to submit. There's a letter of intent from the incubator where the applicant intends to incubate. This will be provided by Bangalore Bioinnovation Center if you are willing to take the incubation here. The person employed or registered as a student with an academic or research organization, for the student or any other employed person from the academic background or research organization, following are the documents to submit. They have to submit the no objection certificate and approval and permission to accept the grant for a big proposal. This has to be received by the signatory authority from your academic institution. They have to submit the no objection certificate, and you should also have the approval letter and the permission letter to accept the big grant. And they have to submit the undertaking about terminating the association with the current employer and take up the project full time in the event of grant approval. So this undertaking by the individual project leader who is applying has to make sure about that. So they have to submit this undertaking to clearly terminate the association with the current employer and take up the project full time in the event of grant approval. This is a mandatory document that has to be submitted. And you should also make sure that accept of funds should be done by an individual, and they have to manage it in a separate account, not to mix up with the present usage account. So evaluation parameters, these are the different weightages of the percentage, and it has to address the unmet need, 20% of weightage it carries. Value proposition or differentiation, 20% weightage. Technical viability, that means it should be technically possible. The idea has to be technically possible. It's not like you can come up with the project like iPSC or something that is not viable technically and within the duration of 18 months. So they will check whether it has strong technical viability to perform within the duration of 18 months. That means at the end of 18 months, you have to have a strong proof of concept prepared. So that carries 30% of weightage. Team strength and passion. This is at most important again. It carries 15%. So when it comes to team strength, what they will observe and check is the team has to be have the complementary skills. That means everybody will not have the scientific skills, managerial skills, documentation skills, etc. in one person, in one alone person. It's very difficult to see that. So the team has to consist of complementary skills. So this is very much important, and they have to be passionate about creating a startup and creating this proof of concept and going ahead for the commercialization. One should be passionate about that. So this carries 15% of weightage. And business perspectives, potential and clarity of the terms review. This will also carry 15%. So kindly check before you go ahead for the proposal drafting. So budget planning. Budget heads and budgeting is listed here in this slides. Equipments, you can utilize maximum up to 30% of the project cost. Manpower, maximum 30% of the project cost. You can utilize it for mentors, advisors, salaried individuals can't draw here. In this particular the manpower head. And consumables, flexible head allowed with justification. Outsourcing, maximum 30% of the project cost, like for your outsourcing studies, you can utilize that. Contingency, maximum 5% only. And incubation charges, it varies because every incubator has their own setup policy for the rentals and other things. So rentals for incubation space and startups, R&D premises at incubator. So that's a separate head. And IP for IP filing and prosecution, you have 1.5 lakhs. For travel, you have project relevant travel within 1.5 lakhs travel you can make, and other heads is limited to market research, patent and working capital, etc. So when it comes to the different installments, at the signing of the contract, you will receive up to 30%. You're not sure about, it varies from case to case, and after the sign of the contract, you will receive up to 30%. And you have to set different milestones. There will be 2-3 milestones that will be set, given by yourself in your own proposal, and after the completion of each milestone, you'll have to submit your progress report, utilization certificate and bank statements, and at the end of each milestone submission, you will receive 30% of the funds, and the leftover project funds will be received after the submission of project report. It's not hard and fast that signing of the contract will take 30% and all that. It varies case to case. So royalty on the grant, this is also one of the important thing to consider. That 5% royalty on the net sales of the product technology developed through BIRAC support till the royalty amount is paid becomes equal to the amount of grant and aid assistance disbursed. That means BIRAC will hold 5% of the royalty once your product or technology is commercialized. It starts its net sales. So you have to submit 5% of that royalty to the amount received to the BIRAC. So till when you have to pay is until you give back the 50 lakhs of grant received by BIRAC. So this is the one royalty thing that you have to keep in your mind. A liability to pay royalty will terminate upon the foreclosure or termination of the project as per the terms of GA. This I already mentioned. And payment for technology transfer or licensing. So application process, you have to go through www.birac.nic.in, and there's a 2-step process. First is you have to register on BIRAC's website. You have to give the credentials and you have to register your company in BIRAC, and then you have to start filling up the proposal. That's the proposal submission step, where you have to give the basic information, particulars of the applicant, PL is project leader, and team details, proposal details, budgets that we already discussed. So proposal submission, basic information you have to give, that proposal title, duration, relevant area, big partner, if applied earlier, that details you have to give, that what was the status, why, what happened to the previous application, that data is required, and brief background you have to submit. If it is a company, you have to submit name, address, contact info, date of incorporation, age of the company, CIN, PAN, MOA, AOA, financial statements, 50% that I already discussed, right? They have to have greater than 50%, 51% of the shares to be held by Indian citizen, and shareholding pattern, number of shareholders, parent company, subsidiary company. If yes, then what is the parent company, where it is located, and does it have more than 20% of sharehold in any other promoter holding shares in any other company which is non-biotech, which is biotech firm. So that has to be clearly mentioned, and any partner relevant to any other company, that all the clear indication of shareholding aspect has to be mentioned. Availability of the lab facility, whether the incubator you are intent to apply, whether they have the lab facility. If yes, then what all the lab facilities they have. So that you have to be very much clear about. And any other BIRAC grant, have you submitted or have you already received? This is also important step. But if you are an individual, you have to submit PAN, passport, no objection certificate, passport. It has to be working passport. That means it should not be expired. In case if it is expired, they will give you certain time for the extension, and you can go ahead for the renewal of the passport and again submit it back. No objection certificate for faculty members is very important. If associated with any company, incubator name and address, letter of intent has to be submitted. Availability of lab facility and any other bilateral grant is also important. So project leader and team details, title, name, gender, designation, etc. And if you are hiring any scientific advisors or mentors, their information, what is their experience, what is their expertise, all this has to be carries a lot of weightage. So proposal details will have proposal summary, concept notes, objectives, proposed approach, novelty, opportunities, challenges, preliminary work, proposed end outcomes. That means whether it is a product or service or a technology, and what are your plans for commercialization. Intellectual property, whether have you already filed the patent or you are into the step of prior art, whether you have already proven that the technology is novel, so what status are you. References you have to clearly mention. Declaration, document on ethical, legal, safety and regulatory aspects. Additional relevant document that I already discussed. So that was the required documents and other things. So I'll just brief out what are the points to remember. Key screening parameters. The project must have proof of concept nature. This is very important. It should have novelty and address the unmet need. The technical feasibility, doability within 18 months. That is also important. Any IP barriers or freedom to operate. Whether what are the status? What is your take on your particular proposal? That you have to mention. And we request you to start application as early as possible. Clarity on business model you should have. Get the necessary letters like no objection certificate, incubation, LOI, etc. That's letter of intent, etc. So you have to approach your organization in nearby incubation centers, and they have to provide you letter of intent. All this will take time. So as early as you can, please initiate the proposal drafting procedure. Preliminary data validation supporting document you have to give. Team with complementary skill set, I already mentioned. You have to hire the team, you have to take their take on your particular ideas, and you should take the advices from advisors, and then you have to set the team that has complementary skill sets. And we request everybody to submit at least 1 week in advance. And the deadline for 18th call is actually it was 15th March, and recently they again postponed it to 25th March. And most of them, what they do is they think that it's a 12 p.m. 12 a.m. is the last deadline for the submission of the project, and they keep it hold up to late night. So many of them have lost the opportunity to submit the proposal since they are following these things. So we are very clear that 25th March 2021 5:30 p.m. is the deadline for the submission of 18th Pyrax big call. And the 19th call, once it opens, I'll contact, if you leave your email ID with me, I'll contact you, and I'll clearly mention when the initially call will be made, so that you can go ahead for the proposal drafting. So this is all about us. So any questions are welcome. Please just go ahead asking the questions by unmuting. I'm ready. I'm happy to help, happy to answer. If at all I don't know, I'll just check with my team, and I can just clarify your doubts. So any questions?
Thank you, Ankita, for that elaborate, informative talk. Any queries? Participants, you can unmute yourselves. Ankita,
Yes.
I think there are no questions, and our next session begins at 11:15. So
Okay,
what we
I'll
will
just leave my email ID here in the chat box. I'll also leave my phone number. So those who are willing to be associated with Bangalore Bioinnovation Center for any kind of requirements can reach us. Yeah, if that's all, then yeah, please, over to you, Salma ma'am. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Ankita. On behalf of the staff, student and management, the Oxford College of Engineering, we owe you a heartfelt gratitude for taking your time from your busy schedule. And yet again, for another set of FDP program, you came and gave us another elaborate information about all the fundings and agencies and how your BBC works. Thank you so much for being part of our FDP program. Thanks again.
It was my pleasure being here in this platform, interacting with you all. Thank you so much for the opportunity and looking forward for such workshops again in future. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody. Bye.